these baby daddies out here, you could have had a harvest. Let me stop. So, yesterday was Juneteenth, a.k.a. Black 4th of July, a.k.a. Freedom has come, a.k.a. Oh, damn, 2 years ago freedom came? We didn't even know? A.k.a. the city of Boston done lost the red, green, and black flag. How you lose the flag, baby? How you just lose a flag? I bet you wouldn't lose the United States red stripes. What is it? Blue and white stripes, red stripes. I'm sorry. I believe that we should honor all flags, not just the Massachusetts flag that has an Indian on it with a knife over his head. And if you actually pay attention to the Massachusetts flag, it is the most disrespectful flag we've ever seen. It is the most you over here mad about the Redskins. You want them to change the name because it's called the Redskins. Have you ever seen a Massachusetts state flag? No respect at all. What's his name? Johnny Dangerfield. What did Jack? He used to say it all the time. No respect. Like the kids had no respect for him. His wife had no respect for him. Rodney Dangerfield, I think was his name. No respect. And that's what it was like yesterday when they were supposed to raise the flag for Juneteenth. I want to see them. Did they lose the Irish flag? Huh? Was the Irish flag lost? Was the gay parade flag lost? Nah, but that Juneteenth flag was lost. I want more than an apology. We're going to have to do this on another day. Is there a rain check? Can we get a rain check? I just want to thank the Juneteenth committee. Shout out to Stuck on Replay, James Mackey. Absolutely amazing. The work that he's doing as far as social injustice, as far as criminal reform. James Mackey is busting his behind for criminal reform. He has a little boy. He said that he does not want his son to go through the same thing. Oh, yes, they lost the flag, baby. Rodney Dangerfield, thank you, VCR. They lost the flag. Good rising, good rising. City of Boston, Juneteenth, lost the flag. You don't believe me? Go read about it. It's all over. And now I'm lying. It's probably not all over the news. But it's all over Wake Up with TaylaAndre. Really, really, really quickly. I won't take too much time, but I do want to read yesterday what the elders presented me with. I don't want to, I want to tell you verbatim what it says. And it was difficult for me to take a picture of it because it was clear glass and white letters, but it says, the Boston Juneteenth Committee and the National Center of Afro-American Artists presents the Ralph E. F. Brown Jr. Juneteenth Award for Exceptional Service to TaylaAndre for exemplary work, increasing knowledge and inspiring growth in our community through media and her show, Wake Up with TaylaAndre, the 7th Annual Juneteenth Emancipation Observation, June 19th, 2017. I am so honored. I am so blessed. Until we all are free. Ralph F. Brown Jr. Was from 1931 to 2012 was a Bostonian who served in the Korean War and became the first equal employment opportunity officer at Hanscom Air Force Base. An activist, he fought for veterans and elder services. He served as chairman of the Massachusetts Juneteenth campaign that led to the establishment of the Juneteenth as an observance here in Boston. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And his wife, Mrs. Brown, was the one who presented me with the award. I felt like a punk, because I was all emotional on the inside, but I held my composure. I didn't shed no tears, y'all. I didn't shed no tears. But I did express my gratitude and how excited I am to have been a part, not just a part of Juneteenth, but made history here in Boston as far as Juneteenth is concerned. VCR says, welcome to the Club of Brilliance. So happy for you. Thank you, VCR. Good rising, good rising. There is a pregnant woman. And this breaks my heart. I hate to even read this when we just found out about Philandro Castell. 2 white Seattle law enforcement officers opened fire on a pregnant black woman of 4 on Sunday Rising, killing the 30-year-old in front of her children after she called the police to report a burglary. Charlena Lyles was living in a transitional housing for homeless families. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but thank you for the report. Charlene was living her life in a dwelling in Seattle, Washington, when, according to Seattle Patch, she dialed 911. She picked up the phone and called for help to report an attempted burglary. In a statement, Detective Mark Lyles wrote, that has to be a typo, because it was Charlene Lyles and Mark Lyles. Were they related? Although this was your typical burglary report, 2 officers were required due to the information pertaining to this address that presented an increased risk to officers. They sent 2 police officers because they were concerned for their safety, which is understandable considering the threat of the undersized petite woman whose family members called her tiny and said she weighed nothing soaking wet. Police officers say when they arrived at the 4th floor apartment, Lyles confronted them with a knife. I'm sorry, I thought I called you because a burglar was around here breaking into houses, and the last thing I needed with me and my kids was to walk around here unarmed at all. They say that she confronted them and charged them with a knife. Now, I want you to think for 5 seconds. As a woman, I want to tell you that, yes, I would have a knife in my hand. Even though I called the police, I'm sitting by my babies. Me and the babies are huddled probably somewhere in the closet, maybe in the bathroom with the curtain closed. And yes, I probably have a knife, a bat, or whatever I can get my hands on, knowing that I'm soaking wet, probably 95 pounds. She's teeny tiny. I'm looking at the picture of the baby. She's tiny. She was pregnant. She entered the door with a knife. I think it was precautionary. I would have told them, listen, I'm scared. I don't know what the 911 call says, but yeah, I'm scared. I got a knife in my hand. Tell them not to shoot me. She called the police. She called for help. And they shot her dead in front of her babies. They shot her dead in front of her babies. You want to talk about social emotional? You want to talk about trauma? Their mother and their newest sibling are dead. And that could have been any one of us. Scared, out of our mind, holding on to a knife, opening a door, making sure that it's the police. I called you. Why the hell would I charge at you with a knife? Tell me anything, huh? Since I'm not there to be able to defend myself, you can say anything. I'm going to call the police and I'm going to charge at them with a knife. They don't even... Do I look like Boo Boo the Fool? Do I look like an idiot? Another one's gone too soon, and if we go ahead and base the algorithm of how this may turn out, we already know no conviction. Should we even have a court? Should administrative leave even be a thing now? Like, just go back to work, baby. Collect your check and do your job, because apparently killing innocent black and brown, especially those that called you, is your job. On a lighter note, thousands of Michigan families will now have the opportunity to send their children to universities free of charge. The University of Michigan has just announced the implementation of their Go Blue guarantee, A program that allows all Michigan families earning less than $65,000 per year to qualify for 4 years of free undergraduate tuition. Oh, that should be a United States federal standard. $65,000 per year. What is that? More than 50% of Boston residents could go to school for free. Latoya says, such an insult to our intelligence to think that story makes sense. I know, Latoya. In front of her 4 kids. Absolutely. Makes absolutely no sense. But we look like Boo Boo the Fool. We gonna take that one on the chin, huh? That baby's mama came all the way out, guns blazing, pointing fingers, naming names. I wish Mike Brown's mama would have done the same. I wish Sandra Bland's mama would have done the same. I wish Eric Bell's mama would have done the same. Wasn't Eric Bell, New York, took like 75 bullets at the strip club? That's the first one I remember. That's the first one I actually can say that I remember when they sprayed that baby down the night before his wedding day. That's when, for me, it became real. That's when, for me, I understood that equal justice under law ain't a damn thing equal. DJ Henry made it too close for comfort. Sean Bell, thank you, VCR, thank you. Too close for comfort. That one hurt more than anything. About this $65,000 a year. Bostonians, more than 50% of Bostonians' children will be able to qualify for 4 years of free undergraduate tuition. Too bad this is in Michigan. The program will apply to students currently enrolled at the Ann Arbor campus, as well as any student who is accepted to the school starting January 2018. According to the U.S. Census, the annual median income of a Michigan household is $51,000. This was in 2015. There are many students growing up in families that look at the University of Michigan and think, that's way too expensive for me, and think, I can never go to school. Even if their kids are talented and hardworking, they're just afraid. They're afraid to let them apply because if they get in, imagine telling your kid, congratulations, but we can't afford it. Now, however, the Gold Blue Guarantee opens the university doors to thousands of low-income students seeking a quality education. Thank you, University of Michigan, for setting the bar as high as every school should jump for. A 22-year-old Virginia man charged with murder in the attack of the Muslim girl after she left the mosque. You guys remember? It was investigated and it was being reported as a hate crime. This is a story that I read yesterday. I am so excited. Please and thank you. I heard yesterday at Juneteenth, Miss Kamala, her last name is not Harris. She is the director, aka the principal of Helen Y. Davis. She is absolutely amazing. That baby's soul is so beautiful. She is my elder, and I do give her respect. Peace and blessings to you. And yesterday, she talked about the KKK being the first, America's first terrorist. The first terrorist in America. Yet, in 2017, they are deemed as a non-profit organization, and guess what? They have tax exemption. That should be illegal. Did they create the Breakfast Club? Did they create the free lunch program? Did they create WIC? Non-profit organization? What did they create? What non-profit work have they done? What philanthropy work? Oh, I'm sorry, they did, hanging ninjas. That's some hard work right there, I guess. Ain't that America? Home of the free. Who sing that song? Bruce Springsteen? Somebody. Ain't that America? Charleston church shooting victim's son drafted by the Chicago Cubs. Almost 2 years to the day his mother was shot and killed in a racially motivated shooting at a historically black church in Charleston, South Carolina. Chris Singleton has realized his lifelong dream. He was drafted by the Chicago Cubs to play Major League Baseball. Yesterday was 2 years, Sunday, my apologies, Sunday was 2 years of the Charleston shooting, 2 years of, let's be peaceful. God would want us to be peaceful. Have you read the Bible? Have you read the Bible? Have you read how many people went to war in the Bible? How many, just for disrespect, look at me the wrong way so we can go to war, please. Please, say something about my God so we can go to war. I really wonder if people believe that. Have you read the entire Bible from cover to cover? Do you know how, that's real drama. I so bad, more than anything, want to watch a novella. You know how like on the Spanish channels, they have like, dun dun dun, what's that called? Soap operas. I would love to see a soap opera based on the Bible. I think it would be the most dramatic. It would be the hilarious. It would be like sexualized. Do you know how much sex is in the Bible? It would be freaky. It would be funny. It would be motivational. I want to see a daytime drama, a novella based on the Bible. I think it would be the most amazing, high-rated show ever. Is it 6 a.m.? Oh, wow. It's 6 a.m. Ooh. Let me go ahead and, because we have an amazing guest today. Let me go ahead and get them situated. Good rising, good rising. Yes, yes, sir. Give me one moment and I'll call you back from the line and we'll pull you up and we'll be live. Yes, sirree. You're welcome. So I'm going to go ahead and get our guest situated. Can you guys give me a minute? Can you give me one moment? Wait a minute. Bring it back. Come rewind. Give me a second. I don't know what's going on. Technical difficulties, I swear, is my middle name. And I don't know what to do with it. Listen to this song real quick. I'll be right back. Y'all give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and pull up our guest. Good rising. Can you be a little louder for me? Can you yell at me?
Morning.
There you are. That's perfect. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull you up. I don't know what's going on with that song, but y'all know I love it, though. I'm so in love. Uh-oh. There we go. No more echoes. Good rising, my love. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm super fantastic. I'm in my feelings a little bit. Yesterday was Juneteenth. It was an amazing day. I was honored by the elders of the Juneteenth Boston Committee. We had a raising of the flag at City Hall, and City Hall done lost the damn flag.
Oh, wow. That's so unfortunate.
It's 2017. I think we're kind of used to it now. It's unfortunate, but I think we're used to this nonsense. But it is what it is. I thank you so much. I butcher names, unfortunately. Pronounce your last name for me. Heber. Thank you so much. So we are talking about education today because you guys know how much I love education. Dr. David L. Heber is passionate about education. He's delivered powerful speeches that inspire and motivate the youth into action, providing strategies and tips that youth can apply to real life immediately. David has presented to and worked with schools and universities, as well as organizations across the nation. With David's humorous and down-to-earth style, he's been able to connect with any audience. However, he is currently live on the Wake Up with TaylaAndre show, and we thank you so much for your 6 a.m. call. I know it's early, but we appreciate you anyways. What makes you be how can you talk to these kids when we have elders that talk about these young kids don't know this and these young kids don't know that, but yet you are so easily able to connect with them and be able to move them and motivate them? Have we really found a disconnect with our youth, or is it a generational thing, or what is it that makes you so close to them, but everyone else is completely repelled by these babies?
No, I appreciate that. I think what has given me the most success, or where I found the most success, is just being honest and transparent about the challenges, and specifically about my individual challenges. And the challenges are just as important, and the scars that we accumulate through our life are just as important as the successes are, or the achievements that we've made. I think a lot of times what we've done as adults is that as we've gotten more and more degrees, as we become more educated, as we become more exposed, I think a lot of times we've forgotten that the things that we've gone through that has helped us get to where we are now. And therefore we come off, particularly when we speak to our young folks or speak with our young folks, we come across as experts in this, in this thing called life. And one of the things I proudly say is that I'm not an expert. I may have multiple degrees. I may be almost 42 years old now, but I'm still learning, and I still make mistakes frequently, and that I'm not an expert, and I'm just still trying to figure this thing called life out. And I think it's that honesty or transparency, because young people, one of the great things about young people is they don't have any cut cards. They will be very honest with you, and if you are not honest with them, they will let you know that they know that you're not being honest with them. So I just really try and be honest with them that I don't have the answers, and that I'm not an expert, and that has helped me.
I love that. He said, I don't have the answers, Sway. So when they look to you and they're coming to you and you're like, I don't have the answers, they're like, damn, if you don't have the answers, who does?
So we simply say we can figure it out together. Collectively, we can figure it out together.
So what about your past allows you to connect so well with the youth?
I think that God has, and not to sound esoteric, but God has blessed me in many different ways to be in bad situations or very challenging situations, to have understand the feeling of not having, the feeling of desperation, the feeling of hunger, eating pieces of bread, and I'm not making this up, eating pieces of bread off the floor of the jail because I didn't have money for commissary. No one had put money on my books. So I understand that desperation of not having. And I think through that and losing a loved one and experiencing acute and traumatic loss, but then also be able to just keep fighting back and not giving up. That's what I share, and that's what I offer to young people. It's not that I can get you out of every situation, or I can predict how you're going to make it through every situation, but I can say what you will do, or what has happened to me. Do not give up, and that's the testimony I share. One of not giving up, perseverance, determination, and having tenacity.
So really quickly, being formerly incarcerated and now being a doctor, you've been on both sides of the spectrum. I know a lot of great men and women that have quarries and are unable to work with children. How are you able to work around that stigma of, oh, you're a formerly incarcerated person, you can't be around my child. You can't be like the laws say that you may be a threat to children. Because there's a lot of men and women out here that have those type of pasts that could easily connect with these youth that need it, these quote-unquote at-risk youth. Shout out to Bison and Roxanne Longoria, where they're now called, I hate how everything's a new terminology, youth with challenges, multiple challenges to success.
It's amazing. It's amazing. We just add acronyms and new things for people. Yeah, or for different parts of the population. No, so I think that's a very good question. I think there's three things. So I'll give kind of like the tangible hard set answers. So one, I don't have a drug charge, and I don't have a child charge, like anything having to do with violating children or sexually assaulting children. So I think the fact that I don't have any charges or criminal convictions around those two areas has helped me out tremendously, because those are, regardless of how in kind or good intentions some people may be, a lot of times it's really hard to do this work if you have those two charges, because you can't even get insured, or districts cannot even take the chance on trying to bring you in if you have those two sets of charges. And some of that is determined or is dictated by state, but for the most part, those are the charges where they're the non-negotiables, where you cannot work with children. The second, we're having my own company, gives me the latitude, and it gives the school system the school system has less culpability, and that's because quite frankly, as a company, we have $5 million umbrella insurance, so it's less of an issue for school systems because we have our own organization. And third, and this is what I shared, and this is just as powerful as the first two, is I truly believe if you let go and give yourself to your higher calling and what you're supposed to be doing, your passion, then your higher power will help you find a way through all those obstacles and challenges. And that's what I have found. So while there are very real obstacles, they've never been barriers that have prevented me from doing this work in my calling.
None. There's been no barriers. You can't speak to barriers. You can't speak to people who want to work with children that may have some sort of conviction that is holding them back. You have none.
I think the challenges. I mean, I had challenges coming out of undergrad, and I got hired as a teacher in a school system that was underrepresented for minorities, and particularly African American men in the teaching field. Now, that didn't work out for me because they didn't want to take the chance. They were a conservative district, predominantly white. I was up front with them about my criminal conviction, and that was a barrier. I didn't get the job. But the barrier turned into an opportunity because I went to another school system who saw my background, my challenges, more of an asset as opposed to a liability. So there were barriers. But I just because one door becomes shut, I don't believe that you stop trying to do that that you call for.
Absolutely. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for you to be just a little bit honest about the barriers and the challenges and the fact that there is rejection out here. And yeah, you did go through it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Life is going to give you the rejection. I think a lot of times what will happen, though, is we allow those rejections to go from being real, which they are, they're tangible, to being excuses of not doing what we need to do and carrying on and not doing what we're called to do.
Well, let me ask you a question. How did you know what you were called to do? Because I think we all want to be the best people we can be. No one wants to wake up and go to work at a mundane job that is absolutely horrible. You hate your boss, you hate your employees, you hate the work you do, you hate your paycheck, and you can't believe that this is your life. You can't make ends meet, and you wake up with a headache, you go to sleep with a headache, and you wish that there was another way. I think every single last one of us wants to do what our soul desire wants us to do, but how did you find your path? what brought you to triple majoring history, Black studies, and education, and then going on to receive a master's? You have like 17 letters behind your name. How'd you find your way?
17 letters and a lot of love. I think that for me, it was always when I became, and again, I'm not trying to sound esoteric. I can just share my story.
No, my love. I'm sorry. I apologize for cutting you off, but you can be very esoteric. You don't even have to preface what you're about to say with, I don't mean to be esoteric. It's politics, news, conspiracies, interviews, waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. Please be as esoteric as you want to be.
I appreciate it. When I learned to be still and just listen, and I got out of my own way. And when I got out of my own way, and when I was still, and I had took the opportunity to actually listen and feel the energy of where my life should be going, then it goes that way. When I go against that grain, when I go against that energy or that life force, whatever we want to call it, or whatever individual chooses to call it, then I feel the pushback. And things don't come as natural. I'm not going to say they come easily, but they don't come as naturally. So for me, I wanted to go after undergrad. I wanted to go to law school. So it wasn't until my junior year when I happened to have an impromptu meeting in my history department chair, the chair of the history department at Lincoln, when I was asking him, what should I do? And I was telling him about my background. And he suggested, well, I might be able to go to law school and graduate, but because of my background, I might not be able to practice law because of the bar. I might not be able to pass the ethical portion of the bar. And he asked me about teaching. Had I given it a thought? Well, part of me picking up some minors or some electives, I was taking African American history classes, which led me to almost have a major in African American studies. All I had to do was take 2 more courses. So I was easily able to pick that up. So my senior year, I was able to focus on education. It was also during my senior year that I met my biological father, who happened to be an educator. And so it was the flow of events. It was the occurrence and sequence of events that it just gave credence to what I should be doing if I learned to listen. And that's what has helped me the most. A lot of times we're so busy doing that we're not as active with our listening of where we should be going with this energy in our life. And so that's what has really guided me.
So in a sense, being still and knowing I am God is what has taken you to understanding your path and understanding the road that you should take.
Yeah, that's a very good summation. Absolutely.
So as far as from potential to purpose, we can all get there. That's not really something that only children need. From potential to purpose. And you just answered that question. Finding your potential to purpose is by being still and listening. But what do you say to those that have been still their whole life, who have been in the church their whole life, who have been calling on God their whole life and still don't know their purpose outside of the mundane Monday through Friday, 5 to 9?
So I think, I was having this conversation recently with my fraternity brothers, my line brothers to be more specific. And my line, not just my fraternity, but specifically my line, we're blessed on my line to have a lot of educators. And particularly, so obviously we're all black males, but we have some amazing people. I have some amazing people on my line who are educators in math and science, and some of them are special educators. So in some of the very hard fields to fill, we're there. And yet, 19 years in, and we still, for the majority of us, we still work for a school system. And every one of us were complaining about the school systems that they were working in, or that they didn't see movement with their students, so they were not given the freedom and the latitude and autonomy to do different things in our classrooms. And I simply said, why haven't we opened our own schools? If we are that unhappy with the conditions and the outcomes of the schools that we work for, why have we not had the audacity to open our own school? And, the room was silent. And part of what happened, and I get it, people have families, people have responsibilities. They're scared to make that reach. Steve Harvey always talks about now, you can't be scared to jump. And what I would suggest is that if people are truly listening to the higher power or to their energy in life, I think that that energy or that higher power has tugged at their spirit and made them question what they're doing. I think that the hesitancy is and being scared is the opposite of what our higher power or our life force teaches us. It teaches us what should be teaching us to be fearless in the pursuit of what makes us happy, in the pursuit of our purpose. I think we've gotten really complacent in that we're scared to take the risk. And to me, being scared to take certain risks is akin to not having complete faith in your higher power that he knows better than you what you should be doing.
So we are not having this faith of a mustard seed that the Bible speaks of. We have a few people that are saying that we can't hear you. So if you could maybe readjust your phone so we can get you a little bit more clearer. I would like to talk from the prisoner to principal, the power of education, because we have a lot of individuals here in the city of Boston that have quarries that are unable to apply, or they apply for jobs and they're denied the job because of their quarry. I would love to speak to education and speak to those individuals that went ahead and did their time and came out and are now active members of society, but still have this stigma behind them because of the quarry, because of the thing that I did once upon a time, regardless if it was 10 years or 10 months ago. I did my time, now I'm out, and now it doesn't matter what I do, I still have to prove myself, and no matter what I do, I'm unable to prove myself. Nobody wants to give me a chance. Nobody wants to see the God in me, or the alterations that have been made, or what I learned. So it's more than just education, right, David? Education just isn't the way. There has to be more.
Yeah, can you hear me better now?
That is perfect. Just keep us like that.
So there's a couple things I would say to that. Realizing, one, there's always going to be a stigma. You never get outrun or outlive the stigma. The stigma's going to be there. There's going to be those naysayers that will not let you in the door and will help or will hinder you having the opportunity. And what I simply say, and it's not meant to be a quick answer, but it's what I found in my challenges or in my life, that you just keep on knocking until someone opens up. And if someone does not open up, you force your way into the conversation. So I'm not familiar with the individual challenges that people may be going through in Boston. But in other cities across the country, there's been a tremendous effort in many cities with those people who actually want to give back, who have gone through those challenges, and that many of our young people are going through, or that we're trying to prevent our young people to go through. Many of those people have come together to create their own organization, and they've leveraged their strength in numbers and their cumulative experiences, and they've partnered with school systems, and they've partnered with individual schools to be able to do that. Work at organizations like New Visions in Detroit. They've done. Ronald has done a wonderful job in Detroit, and we're bringing together men, particularly African American men and men of color, who have gone through those challenges, or who have been involved in the criminal justice system, and now they go into the school system, into the schools, and they mentor and work with our young people. So there are organizations where those folks have come together to do this work. So they may not be working for the school system, but they're working with the school system, and they're working with other organizations.
Let's go back to the school system. I just had a moment of deja vu. I guess I'm on the right path. But if you can go back to yelling at us, that we can, the levels lowered off just a little bit towards the end. You talked about how you and your line brothers, mostly in the field of education. Can I take a guess and say you guys are alphas?
No, we're too pretty for that. It's too far to be every fine. Kappas.
I should have known. As soon as you said we're too pretty for that, I automatically like, damn, I should have known. But as you and your line brothers were having the discussion about being in the education field and being so dissatisfied with the level of education and saying, if we're so dissatisfied, why aren't we opening our own schools? What was the actual answer to that? What are you guys doing now to make that a reality? Are you guys raising $2 million, Umar Johnson, and 10 years later still raising $1 million?
Well, the easy answer is that we've committed ourselves to come together to explore the idea. The non-political answer, and because we're on air, I won't use the word, is that we have got to be more intentional. And so I'll give you an example. Of the Divine Nine, of the 5 fraternities and the 4 sororities out there, the organization that I think is the most sophisticated and has done the best in doing something to scale. Some chapters have done individual work, and it has been really good. But the Deltas have done the largest true-scale model that I've seen with their body program, empowering men and boys of color. And they've gone national with it. It's an amazing program. And I just say all that to say, there's so many instances, unfortunately, where we cannot come together to get it together. And so if we're even just starting on my line, I'm not trying to indict my line from Epsilon chapter Spring 98, but my line is endemic or symbolic of what's going on across the country. So even if we talk about this movement in urban education, so there's a huge push in urban education. It's come to light now, more so with the new Secretary of Ed, around charter schools versus traditional public schools. Well, if you look nationally, most of the charter schools do not outperform traditional public schools. But if you dig deeper, what you have found is that the majority of the charter schools are now owned and operated by predominantly white organizations. And they educate predominantly African American and minority students. So these organizations have come in where the opportunity has presented themselves, and they've taken over, and they're making millions of dollars on black and brown students. But the onus needs to be on us. We need to focus on ourselves because we have not come up with an alternative. We have not taken the ownership of of educating our own people, our own population. We have left that to be the arena of others, and we just quite frankly need to do better.
So I always wondered, so I don't know the navigation between, of the education world, but I always wondered, like, as far as charters are concerned, they operate on their own, they do their own thing, they answer to nobody but their damn selves. So why haven't we opened charters? Why aren't there Afrocentric charters? I have to take that back because the Helen Y. Davis is a charter school that is Afrocentric, that Kamala Harris is owning right now. She's winning, and those babies are learning everything they need to know about themselves, about their ancestors, about those that came before them. So I cannot say that, but I do wonder, why are there not more? Why are there not, 17 different Helen Y. Davis when we have over 156 schools in the district?
That's a very good point. So again, the example that you just gave in Boston, so you'll have in most cities like 1 or 2 of those schools like that, right? So in Philadelphia, you have Imhotep Academy. Here in Washington D.C., you have Richard Wright, who's created by Marco Clark. So you have these one-offs, but we have not gotten sophisticated enough to do it to scale. And there's a couple reasons. One, organizationally, I don't think we're there yet, and we need to be there. And when I mean organizationally, it's coming together to create something like this on a national level. So even if you have these individual schools, whether it be in Baltimore or in Detroit or in Boston or in D.C., those organizations or those schools which were created by whatever the theme may be, not necessarily just an Afrocentric theme, but they're owned and operated by black folks. There should be a national movement to connect those folks. One, to talk about ideas, one, to talk about how to raise resources. But the second reason why there's not as many, one, it takes a lot more money and resources to get different results. What's happening is, particularly in the charter world, you have foundations who will come in to supplement the fair student funding, or the per pupil allotment. So every school will get per pupil allotment. Sometimes it's on par with the traditional schools, sometimes it's not. But foundations and other organizations will come in to supplement the per pupil allotment. The challenge is those foundations, for the most part, are given to the same CMOs. They're given to the charter management organizations that we all hear about. They're given to the KICs, the Democracy Press, the Green Dots, the same ones. They're not giving the money to those one-offs, those predominantly black-owned schools. So it's also let's be clear. There's also some intentionality about where the money goes, and there's also some intentionality around who the authorizers, because every city, every LEA has an authorizer, which will create a charter school or authorize a charter school. They're not giving the one-offs to anymore. They're giving the charter schools and the allotment to large companies. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? And this is the direct connection between from school to prison pipeline. So we know by privatizing prisons, it's $1 billion a year business. Education is $1 billion a year business. Private companies, white companies, run the private industrial complex for prisons. White companies run the large charter management organization. That's just a fact.
And as a charter school parent, I have to say that they are teaching our children how to line up and be quiet in the hallways, how to not speak to their peers, how to be antisocial, no touching. And I do feel, and I get on my school very often, I do speak to the school's director on an often basis about this. And I'm that parent that I'm in the school. My child is not going to adhere to your rules, laws, or my child's not staying for detention. Absolutely not. I'm not signing the infraction. So I am that parent that goes against the grain because I see this looks like prison to me. This looks like you're setting my child up for prison. Unacceptable. XYZ is not going to happen. They're going to remain in the school. You're going to remain educating them. They're going to come home and learn what I want them to learn. But I am an active part of the school. Not only that, I also advise or suggest when it comes to curriculum. So I want to urge all the parents that are charter school parents that are just like, wow, that makes sense. If the school is owned by those that own prisons, I understand that. You understand now why your child come home with that damn red slip talking about, I forgot what it's called. But you get it now, because I got it a long time ago. You have to be that parent in the school saying, no, it's not going to happen. No, I don't like this. No, not my child. And until more parents step up and be that voice of reason, fighting on behalf of other children in the class, fighting on behalf of other children in the school, even if it's not your baby, somebody got to do right by the child.
I mean, if we dig deep into the similarities of how companies are making millions in education, so I was sitting with one of my mentors a couple weeks ago, and by default, the work that we do for Concentric, we work with school systems that have challenges. That's by default. That's the school system that we work with. And there was a level of frustration sometimes when we don't get the results that we want to get, because we're deeply invested in the work that we do. And he's been a lifelong educator. He owns and manages, and he happens to until he just retired, he managed the largest the way that I classify the largest black partnership public schools, public charter schools. And he asked me a question that I've been reflecting on for 3 weeks now. And that question is, do the systems actually want to get better? Like, we take it for granted that we think that school systems want to do better by our students. But are they fundamentally designed? I'm not talking about at the person level, but are they fundamentally designed to get the outcomes, to get better outcomes? And that's the question he asked me to think about.
And you've thought about this, and your rebuttal is?
In many cases, they are not fundamentally designed to get different results. So the results that they're getting, where you have some students succeeding, the majority of the students not succeeding, the systems are fundamentally designed, and Peter Senge spoke about this in the fifth discipline. The systems are getting the results that they're designed to get. Until we fundamentally change the design of the systems to get different results, we won't get, our students will not progress and be better until we fundamentally design it differently.
So can you repeat that? The seventh principle, is that a book? Is that something we can read?
Yeah, the fifth discipline. The fifth discipline.
Written by?
Peter Senge, Senge.
Peter Senge, The Fifth Discipline. What is that book centered around?
It talks about the art of the learning organization. So it's really speaking about how organizations are structured. And while the premise of the book is how can one, to decipher how organizations are structured, to see how they're constructed, and then two, how do you change them to get different results?
So I'm a little slow. Can you repeat the book's name and the author one more time? I'm going to try and look it up and go ahead and post it for those that are wondering. Do not text and drive. Do not text and drive. Do not text and drive. I'm going to go ahead and post it on the Facebook page so you can have it later on.
Yeah, so it's an older book, but it's powerful. So it's called The Fifth Discipline. And the author name is Peter Senge, Senge.
And you guys can buy that book online, a used copy for $3.79. There is no excuse why we are not educating ourselves. You can even get it on PDF, save it to your phone, and read it on the train. Read it when you're waiting in the waiting room at the doctor's office. There is no reason why we cannot educate ourselves. You want to know something? It's hidden in a thing called a book. Do you read them?
Yeah, and actually I bought mine for $1.25 at the thrift store.
I love that. As far as education, like, I can see now, more than when we first started our conversation, how you can, be like a chameleon in many different spaces, whether it's in front of our youth or whether it's in front of elders, our listeners, those esoteric, outside the box thinkers. But what about these conversations in spaces with actual educators that don't look like us? How are you received when you talk about your passion for educating Black and brown boys and girls? How do you feel like the teachers that you work with, are they sensitive? They're, again, all of these new terms, culturally responsible or social emotional or trauma, and like, how do you move about these spaces, and how are you received when you sound like you are so, Afrocentric? Is it a warm welcome, or are they like, can you tone that down a little bit?
Well, that's a great question. I think there's one. I truly believe now at the age that I'm in. I always say this when I'm having conversations with teachers or staff in small or larger gatherings, and the very first thing I'll ask them is I'll say, how many of you know how to play spades? Right? And
hey, you gonna be my partner? I got you, boy. I got you. I don't renege.
We're gonna run a Boston on. So I say to them, the reason I say that is because I just have no cut cards. Right? So like we don't have time, and this work is too urgent, but we have to sugarcoat things. And if you're looking for someone to sugarcoat things and be more politically astute or kind out there for that. I'm just not that guy. I've never been that guy. I never will be that guy. And, one of the things, particularly when I'm working with educators who may be white educators in teaching in urban districts, I'll say to them, I'll ask them the question, I'll say, well, do you see color? And if they say, no, we don't see color, we have to have a completely different conversation. Because to me, you're not being honest, you're not being real with yourself. Because we all see color. Everybody sees color. Whether or not to the degree in which we allow color to affect our interactions with people, that's a different conversation. But if educators say that they don't see color, then I get really worried. And I also ask them, I say, when they start referring to the children as my children and, my this, my that, and I say to them, no, they're not your children. They have mommies and daddies. And I say, our young people need empathy. They don't need sympathy. Too many of our educators, particularly young white educators, they want to have sympathy for our young folks. And to me, sympathy is counterproductive. Now, what they need is to empathize with our young people. Empathy, to me, is sympathy, but with accountability. The world doesn't care about circumstance.
Hold on, I want you to repeat that. I'm finna tweet it. Say that again?
Empathy is sympathy, but with accountability. We can't have sympathy for our young people. We need to have empathy.
Okay. I'm a little slow, so I'm gonna need you to repeat that probably like 2 more times because I know I'm not the only one that loves that.
Empathy is sympathy, but with accountability.
I got it. So can you do me a quick favor? Do you have a Twitter? Can I go ahead and tweet you?
Yeah, I think it's just Dave D. Heber at Twitter. Like, I'm old, so I've been trying to do this whole Twitter thing. And so I'm adjusting.
Okay. I think I found you. I'm going to go ahead and @ you. I love that. Empathy is sympathy, but with accountability. And let me, really quickly, as far as educators are concerned, we're currently in the summer season. Like, the kids are out of school, children are out of school. We don't have billy goats, and they are, throughout the summer learning. 2 questions. As an educator, what should I be doing as a parent with my child during this off season of education? And 2, when school starts back, what questions do I need to ask my child's teacher in order for us to get on the same page so they understand that I am an active parent, this is a little black boy or girl, and we need to talk?
So I think 2 high-level things I think we should do with all young folks, right, all students, is one, to me, and Dr. Clark talks about this a lot, Marco Clark at Richard Wright, is that all students, we have got to have our students, and this is adults too, because you mentioned it earlier in the interview, young folks have got to read more. They have to read. They should be reading, and this might be a little aggressive, but they should be doing at least 1 book a week. At least 1 book a week. Schools that have aggressive summer reading lists usually do pretty well. But the summer reading list cannot just be a summer reading list. It should be connected to the next year's curriculum. It should be aligned or flow into the next year. So if your son or daughter is going into 5th grade, during the summertime, they should be reading books on a 5th grade level. If your son or daughter is not reading on a 5th grade level, then you need to scaffold some of the readings and ask the teachers on the front end. Most of this information is available online. You can just look online about grade-appropriate texts if your school does not give you a summer reading list. But our young folks do not read as much as they need to read. The more they read, the more they're going to enjoy reading. The better readers that they are, the better writers they will become. The better writers they become, the better speakers they will be. The better speakers they will be, that they become better listeners.
You just broke down to me why my children are debaters. They are the greatest debaters that I've ever met in my life. They need to be attorneys. And it is because their school makes them, my daughter reads for, I believe, an hour and a half each day. No, I think Anari is 90 minutes, an hour and a half, and I think Asaria is 45 minutes because she's in the 5th going to the 6th grade, and I believe they have for them every Monday through Friday 45 minutes of reading. And my kids can go through a Harry Potter book in a week. I don't know how, I'm not that advanced, Dr. David. I do not read 600 pages in 7 days. I can barely read 30 pages in an hour. Just transparency, I'm slow. And I have dyslexia. You know, I diagnosed myself. But, you know, as an elder, I'm listening to you. You're saying a book a week. Most books are anywhere between 300 and 600 pages, especially like a good book with substance. How do I increase my reading levels when, you know, maybe I'm stuck in traffic? Hold on, really quickly. There was one time I was stuck in traffic. There was a white woman reading a book while driving. I thought it was the funniest thing on earth. But, like, I can't read and drive, even though she was. But I'm at work. When do people actually have time to read, Dr. David? And how do I increase my ability to read faster?
So there's a book out, and so Dave, there's a recent book out there that was created by Navy SEALs. Now, I'm not subscribing to whatever Navy SEALs are trained to do. I'm just saying that some of his points were really good. And so most of us have heard of like Malcolm Gladwell and Outliers and the 10,000 hour rule and stuff like that. But what the Navy SEAL was speaking about is the practices of successful people. So he looked at, similar to what Malcolm Gladwell did with like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, and then they were looking at all these people across the different generations and what traits they had in common. He was looking at the Navy SEAL was looking at what time really successful people wake up. And so they found that they define success by not just monetary, but by societal contributions. But they looked at those factors, and they were looking at between 4:15 and 4:45 every morning. And so the person that I would love your viewers to get to know, if they don't know him already, is a gentleman named Freeman Hrabowski. And so Freeman Hrabowski, funny sounding name, you would assume that it was a white man, but Dr. Freeman Hrabowski is African American man, and he is president of the University of Maryland Baltimore College, UMBC. He's been president there for 23 years. And most people should know him because he's been on Time Magazine as the best college president in the country. I mean, his accolades just go on and on. But he is so structured. He's even more structured now and disciplined at the age of 60. He always tells people he's 50-something, but he's 67, about to be 68. He's so disciplined now, where from 4:15, I might be off by 10 or 15 minutes, but for the first 30 minutes of every morning is spent meditating and just reflecting. The next 30 minutes is spent reading. Then there's an hour in the morning of exercise. So he just follows a regimen and a structure every single day. And I mean, you can't really argue with success and the results. But he finds the time to read, and he's a college president in the morning and the evening. He bookends his day. In the morning, and he's always reading two things. He's always reading something to help him personally, and then he's always reading something simultaneously to help him professionally. So he's always in the middle of two books, if not more.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm gonna go back. I just pulled up his information. I'll go ahead and post that on TaylaAndre underneath today's video on Facebook. And I also pulled up your website, and we'll put that online so people can have access to that. We currently have a caller on the line. We're coming to the top of the hour. 617-282-0062. Good rise and caller, you're live.
Good rise and
Good rise.
Dr. David. My name is Leslie. Quick question. How do you get children? Because I did this volunteer this year as a literacy through Generation. how do you get a child that doesn't have reading in their home to get them properly on the right path to reading and reading a book a week?
Great question. Are you an educator, Leslie?
No, I'm not. I'm just a volunteer. I'm a 62-year-old woman that decided to help the community, and I decided to do literacy with children because I found that a lot of children do not know to read. And it's so sad that the school that I was in, and majority of the schools, they're black and brown children, as you say, that do not know how to read, and you can't get the parents to help you further along with their children in order to get it done. So what would be a good idea in order to implement to get the parents to go along with the school and with the volunteers?
Thank you so much, Leslie, for your question. Love and appreciate you. Hope you have an amazing day. If I could make one quick comment before Dr. David answers that question. We, being a member of C-Plan, the Collaborative Parent Leader Action Network, one of the things that I was so like, it's the teachers, and the teachers are like, well, it's the parents, and the parents is like, well, it's the teachers in the school. One of the things that I found is that we point the fingers at parents and we blame parents, but it's not understood that a lot of parents aren't coming from. You have to remember the backgrounds we're coming from ourselves, the educations that we received ourselves, the lack of learning that we ourselves have. And I will, take a step back, and I would love to hear your answer, Dr. David.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So we've conducted probably 17,000 home visits over the past 2 or 3 years. Give or take a couple of hundred. And what we have found is absolutely right, is that there has not been one instance where a parent has not said, I want what's best for my son and daughter. A lot of times, for the most part, the parents that we service, they don't know how to give more, or what else to do. And the reason I say that is because it's my children. My children are going into the 6th and 5th grade respectively, and I think I'm a pretty good educator and what works. But it's hard for me to even work, get my children to do everything that's necessary. So I say that to say, one strategy that we found is exposure. We have to expose. We do not necessarily have a culture where our children are exposed to read. I think we have to provide the elements and the conditions for our children to understand the importance of reading.
Is he
and
running?
That's a slow process. I don't believe that's an overnight process. But as we do that, I think our children will become accustomed to what a reading culture looks like. I think it's almost akin to creating a college-going culture. There has to be a reading culture where reading is an expectation and where we model it as adults. And it might not always be in the home, but we can begin to work collaboratively with parents to show them why reading is so important for their children.
Thank you so much for that, Leslie. I also want to give you a huge shout out because as an elder, you could be doing anything with your time, but your give back to the community, I appreciate that, and I hug you over the airwaves for your work, and thank you so much for giving back to our children and being selfless with your time.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to echo that as well.
So we have come to the top of the hour. Dr. David Heber, I said that correctly?
Yes.
Dr. David Heber, I would like to say I thank you so much. I'd love to have you back. There's so much that we didn't even discuss. We even touch on as far as like declaring your promise and fulfilling your purpose, recognizing your potential, achieving your personal and professional goals, hip hop and education. I think that could be a whole show by itself. Don't judge a book by its cover. Taking control of the urban education system. Steps to becoming a great leader. How to connect with your students. Pillars of success. Building a strong team and building a successful business. I kind of feel like you should be here this Sunday for the Boston Business Builder so we could find a way for you to plug in. But I thank you nonetheless for your time. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you have an amazing day today. Please tell us, how can we find you, even though I have your website already on Facebook Live, but please tell, how can we find you? How can we get connected to you? And how many books have you written that we could read?
In the process of finishing my memoir now, obviously you can go to my personal website, which is davidheber.com. You can go to our company's webpage, which is concentriced.org. That's concentriced.org. And most importantly, I love to connect with people. So people can just give me a phone call at 202-330-1753. That's 202-330-1753.
That sounds like a DC area code. Are you in the capital?
Yeah, I'm right outside. I'm right outside DC capital. I'm in Prince George's County.
That from my understanding, that is one of the wealthiest black neighborhoods or districts that we reside. That's probably one of the biggest and wealthiest neighborhoods. That's true, correct?
Yeah, up in the northern part of Prince George's County is. The southern part, we're struggling. The southern part is interesting. Basically, long story short, because D.C. is no longer Charleston City, most of the residents from D.C. have been relocated right outside of D.C. into Prince George's County, into the southern part.
Well, you know what? I believe that you and your line brothers are going to make it right. You guys are going to open up a school, and more people are going to flock to the school, so they're going to move to the area.
We hope. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you and your guests.
Thank you so much. Big City 101.3 FM. Waking Up with TaylaAndre, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 7. Again, I want to thank the Juneteenth Committee of Boston for honoring me yesterday on our 7th annual Juneteenth Emancipation Proclamation conversation. And I love the Juneteenth Committee. It was the 7th annual Juneteenth Emancipation Observation. And they went down the list. Shout out to the 54th Regiment, the actors that portrayed themselves as the 54th Regiment. I'm blessed. I am so blessed, and I'm so thankful for every single last one of you. Do not forget, this Sunday, as far as the Boston Business Builder is concerned, send me your babies. You may not have the answers, Sway. Dr. Davis said, I don't have the answers, but we can figure it out together. And that's exactly what we're going to do with Professor Devin Robinson of Atlanta, Georgia, with Tracy Syfax of New Jersey, with Monica Cost of Boston, with Anna Foster, a.k.a. Anna Maven, with Noah B. Jones, and with L.V. Randolph. We are going to figure this out. Black economics is important. We need to get our stuff together, work together, put our money together, open some black beauty supply stores here in Boston, and focus on black generational wealth. And when I say black, I mean brown too. So yeah, Latinas that don't consider themselves black, baby, you black. If you tan and you always have a tan, you black, baby. I don't care what language you speak. If your skin is popping and you have melanin, there's some Greeks that are black that'll deny it. When your melanin is popping, baby, I consider you black, brown, melanated creatures. I need you guys to come out. Send me your babies. If they're under the age of 18, send them to me. I just want our children to be educated. We don't have a curriculum in our schools that educate us on economics. We don't have classes and courses and free this and free that in our neighborhood to teach us about economics. This isn't even dinner time conversation. For crying out loud, it's 2017. Please tell me who sits at the dinner table anymore. We don't have dinner time conversation when it comes to stocks and bonds and conversations about generational wealth. And shout out to Reparations down on Columbia Road, because he is showing Noah what generational wealth looks like. Son, I'm an entrepreneur. Carry on the business for me. We don't know what that looks like on a large scale in our community. But I guarantee I'm going to do my best to make sure that everyone in the building walks out feeling empowered and ready to open their own business. And I don't mean an ends meet, I'm a business owner. I mean a multi-million-dollar enterprise where you could leave the country for 6 months, because you know you got to come back so you can get your taxes. Leave for 6 months and go about your business, and your business is still running. You go about your business and your business is going about its business. It's possible, baby. Don't think for 5 seconds that you were meant to live a mundane life, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., missing out on children's recitals, missing out on school plays, missing out on sports, missing out on life. This can't be life. It gotta be more. This can't be us. You're right, it ain't. I want to give a huge shout out to Faith's Naturals, everything Faith, from shampoo to conditioner to deodorant to lotion to soap, all those things, all those beauty products that you get at a big box business. You can't even read what's on the back of the label. But if you go to Faith's, everything is all natural. You can read what's on the back of the label. You can even eat it. I still stand by Anari tongue with some mommy. Taste it. Taste it. The face wash, the Grand Rising face wash, it's made out of sugar and lemons. And then, you know, her special other ingredients. But sugar and lemons. I eat it every morning when I wash my face. Not eat it, but you know, you can lick it and not die. Aside from that, she has, if you have acne, alopecia, your hair's thinning out. Look at these eyebrows. These eyebrows ain't on fleek by accident. I definitely use her hair growth oil. It's made my sideburns grow in too, so I had to stop using it all over my face because now I have a mustache. But I love everything Faith Naturals. I promise you will as well. Do not forget that I am a Second Amendment sister, not on paper, but definitely in heart. And I believe that every single last one of us should go out and exercise our right to bear arms. 617-293-1011. Call Firearm Fred and tell him Tayla sent you. Last but not least, as far as this cannabis is concerned, I have everything posted online. If you are not socially inclined, I need you to go to malegislator.gov/search/find my legislator. Tayla, that's too much. I can't. No. Then just Google Find My Legislator, Massachusetts. Find my congressman, Massachusetts. Find my senator, Massachusetts. It will take you to masslegislator.gov/search/find my legislator. Give them a call and tell them, listen, I am not agreeing with what's going on with this House bill. I like the Senate bill. You guys need to figure this out and work it out, because there's things that are taking place that I don't like. Too many times in the past, black and browns have been kicked out of industries, and right now Massachusetts has a bill on the House floor that we need to urge our representatives to vote against. We will shut it down. And you say, hey, representative, my name is such and such, and I live in such and such district, and I am calling about the new marijuana law that the House is about to vote on. The proposal excludes people with past marijuana convictions from taking part in the economy that they know so much about. You guys are eliminating a part. Y'all could be nice if you want to. I'm calling and saying y'all ain't finna kick black and browns out of an industry that we've been a part of for years. Now white men all of a sudden can come in and make millions of dollars each harvest. I don't like it. Please change it. I'm rocking with the Senate bill. The House bill need to be canceled out. You vote on the House bill and you'll be voted out. Can you say that to your elected official? You most definitely can. They got into their position because someone voted them in. They can be voted off the island too. What Kevin Hart say? We took a vote and she lost, so I kicked her off the bed. Y'all can kick people off the bed all the time. It's called go out and vote. I don't care if you eat weed, if you sell weed, if you think about weed, if you dream about weed. If you know somebody who could be a great legal drug dealer. Come on, babies. Come on. We got to work together. We got to do this. One together, okay? One together. All the numbers are on Facebook. If you are not, again, on Facebook, just hit me up, TaylaAndre.com, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, TaylaAndre, add me, and I'll go ahead and send you the information. If you know anybody who is looking to buy or sell a house, 617-459-0041. I have a 4-bedroom in Grove Hall for $2,500. Taylor, that's a lot of money. I know, baby. I don't make the prices. I just try and help people buy houses. I don't really like dealing with rentals because I want us to be homeowners. I'm sick and tired of us paying someone else's mortgage. But OB is an elder, and I love him, and I'd do anything for him. And if he say, Taylor, I have a 4-bedroom for $2,500, OB, the elder, is going to get a tenant that's going to live there for $2,500. So, spread the knowledge, spread the word, spread love. Be mindful. Last but not least, hold on, I really wanted to tell you guys that the U.S. Supreme Court ruling on offensive trademarks means that Washington Redskins will most likely keep their name. You remember at the beginning of the show where I was talking about the Washington Redskins and, how inappropriate that is? And take a look at the Massachusetts state flag. While we're talking about flags, City Hall lost the African flag for Juneteenth. Y'all want to call City Hall? If you have any complaints, 311 is your best friend. Download 311 onto your phone, and if you see a police officer that's running through red lights and then shutting off his lights and cruising through the streets, because I hate that when they don't want to sit in traffic. I don't want to sit in traffic either. Can I get a pair of lights? And not every single last one of them are doing the wrong thing, but not all of them are going to a call either. If you don't like that, call 311. If you got somebody blocking your driveway, call 311. You got somebody who has ugly trash in front of your house, call 311. It's the snitching line. And I use it to snitch on police officers. I really do. I did it. I say it again. I did it. 311. It's the city line. If you have any questions, please call on your phone. 311. Download the app 311. We got to take control. We got to take control. Stop calling Pookie and them, your girlfriend, your sister, cousin, them, and complain. Complain to the people that can actually make a difference. Call your senator. Your senator need to be on speed dial on your phone. Every time you don't like something, the teacher did something, the principal did something, the pipes being built, they digging in the streets, call the city. Call your representative. You own them. You own the school. You own city councilors. You own the mayor. Your tax dollars come out of your paycheck every single week or bi-weekly, depending on how you get paid. You own them. You got to take back that ownership, baby. Give me me. Just like you ain't finna let nobody steal Wi-Fi, why you let these city councilors and these representatives and the mayor steal your money and not represent you properly? I can stand on the soapbox all day, but I won't do that to you. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Do not forget that I love you, and I hope you have an amazing day. Big City 101.3 FM. It feels good. Yeah. was so excited to have the flyers like 2 days before the damn event. That wasn't supposed to work out that way, but yeah, everything happens for a reason. So if you see me in the streets, I'm passing out flyers. Tell everybody, send those babies to me. That's all I want. Send me the kids. Send me the babies. Let me educate them. I don't have the answers, Sway, but other people do have the answers. Let them teach the kids what they need to know. Educational wealth is not something that we know about. Educational wealth isn't something that we learn about. We have adults that don't even know about educational wealth, generational wealth. And there was something that Kamala said yesterday. She said, Sherwood. I've been calling her Harris all day. Sherwood, Miss Sherwood, said that it's not just about intergenerational wealth, but intercommunal wealth. Because it's perfectly fine for us to say intergenerational wealth. That's one family. But we have to start saying intercommunal wealth so that the community as a whole can start being wealthy. You can't just want wealth for yourself and want your neighbor to be piss poor, broke. What you meant to tell me? Tell you the other day I wanted to come on Sunday. Oh, then you should come. I can't stop you. You're definitely invited. And I hope to see you there. Neil, you're coming, right? Boston Business Builder. Neil is making moves in New York, so he will not be there. But you will, and I look forward to seeing you.